me because I'm not really used to talking in front of a room. You'll catch up, don't worry, we'll get there. No, what's funny is I spend a lot of time in the office. As a result, I get a lot of time to deal with the issues, products, and everything else. So I learn a lot about the science, because I also deal with the SciMed board. So I get to deal with all the doctors, I get to deal with all the lawyers, I get to do all those things. And every now and then they let me come out and have a little fun with you guys. And this is what I really love to do, because I like to share the stuff that we know about the products that you may not. So everybody know everything they need to know about the products?
No.
Okay, let's see what we can do. But there's another reason why I'm here, and I have that general counsel title. I hate it, Logan always says, he used to introduce me as a lawyer all the time to everybody. Immediately people checked out, they blocked up, they didn't want to talk to me anymore. Yeah, take pictures of that, please. But what was interesting about was this. I said, stop introducing me as a lawyer, introduce me as a persuasive communicator. And the reason why was because that way people don't judge me before they get to know me. I am approachable, but the reason why I do this is real simple. I want everybody to know, I always come in behind the testimonials because I want to make sure everyone understands we don't cure, prevent, or treat anything. All we do is provide the body what it needs, when it needs it, so we can do exactly what God designed it to do, which is take care of itself. Isn't that a novel concept? Okay, that's what IDLIFE is. That's what we do. But we want to make sure everyone understands that. But we want to also make sure that everyone understands nutrition is a secret. And what I mean by a secret is there's a lot of things you believe that you know, but you don't know why you know them. So let's look at one. 8 glasses of water a day. How many of you guys have heard that before? I need 8 glasses of water a day. Does anybody have any idea where it came from? Neither does anybody else. Do some research on it. There's no science behind it. Really, there's no science behind it. In 1945, a well-known nutritionist came up with the idea, started touting it, and guess what? It became what everyone believes to be true. There's no science at all behind that. So let's dispel that myth. Let's look at the next one. Now, if you happen to be on a statin drug, and I'm not going to have you raise your hand, but if 1 in 4 of you are, I'm not going to tell you to stop taking your statin, but I'm going to teach you some things about your statin drug that you may not know. Does anyone know that a statin drug eliminates your body's natural production of CoQ10? Yes. Okay, so y'all all know those things. Okay, that's great. But here's the one thing you may not know. Started in 1987. This is the new warning that came out in 2012 from the FDA. 15 years after they let it on the market. That's liver damage, memory loss, and confusion. It causes type 2 diabetes and muscle weakness. 15 years. Now, for all of you that are in here waiting for that next super pill so that you can lose your weight and get healthy, and do you really want to take the chance? And I'll remind you of Fen-Phen, one of the only pills I didn't take. We'll get to that later. Okay? But let's look at what Canada says about it, because Canada just gets directly to the point. Those guys, they know what to say. They basically say, oh, by the way, this can actually cause the heart attack that you're trying to prevent by taking it in the first place. Okay, so when we talk about pharmaceuticals, and we talk about the ability to take control of your health to avoid the use of a pharmaceutical, and I could really scare you. Did you know 1 out of 2 of you in this room, in other words, 50% of you are on some type of prescription drug? Here's the other thing. Every prescription drug created has a side effect. Every single one of them. Okay? And in fact, if you're over 50, I'm sorry, but the average person in the U.S. is taking 4 prescription drugs. Okay? So this is the kind of thing that you guys need to be aware of, because there's a lot of people out there saying, well, I'm just going to wait until science catches up and then I'll just take a pill and it'll take care of my issue. It may cause bigger issues. So let's look at this one. You see this plate? I'm from Texas. The boots and the accent are real. Okay? Yeah, that was a joke. You'll catch up. Don't worry. But most people would say, I need my protein from my steak and that veggie thing if I get around to it. But what you don't understand is this. There's actually more protein in the broccoli than there is in the steak. Right. How about that? So we dispelled some myths now, so people have some understanding that maybe we don't know what we should know, and that health and nutrition in this company is a mystery. It is a secret. The reason why I do this is simple. We have a lot of products, but I want you to understand why we created the products. Okay? I want you to understand that when we go into creating something, it's to educate our field, our consumer, our customer, so that they understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and more importantly, they can educate the next generation, because we have a problem in this country. It's an epidemic. It's a weight epidemic. If you don't believe me, just look at the recent stats. 70% of people in this country are overweight. If we don't do something in the next 20 years, it'll be 95%. most industrialized country in the world, and also the sickest. It's a sad story. All right, so we've created some products for certain reasons. First, unmatched quality control. Now, this is one of my favorites because when I tell people about this, it's like I'm like a kid in a candy store. Because when Logan talked me into doing this, he told me, two things. One, I'd have fun. Two, I never had to wear a suit again. You notice for the first year I wore a suit a lot? Not anymore. No, that doesn't happen. Not happening. The boots, yeah, that's just going to be part of it. But what's interesting is he also said, here's the thing. I'm going to stand on stage and say we have the highest quality, best ingredients, products on the planet. I never want to be called a liar for that statement. I said, that's easy. What we're going to start with is quality control. Let me explain to you what we do that's different. Most companies, it takes 3 to 6 weeks to get a product to the shelf. 3 to 6 weeks. That means concept, design, manufacture, and you're consuming it. It's not a lot of time. Okay? But what we have is a different type of process. Ours, you go into raw material suppliers and you say, okay, here's the deal. If you want to sign on with IDLIFE, you have to be suspect to independent, third-party, blind inspections at any time we decide. So in other words, your facility better be immaculate because Mark Bennett could be on a plane your direction and you don't even know I'm coming. And if you want to know what that's like, ask Scott Unclebuck. Because I did that in the beginning of this thing when I got to know Scott and I did the due diligence there. I get to go into every single manufacturer, every single raw material manufacturer and check them out anytime I want to. That's a precursor. In fact, we had a company that is extremely well known in this industry. We were trying to talk about a product development deal with those guys and they said, oh yeah, this is all fine. I said, okay, I'll be on a plane tomorrow to come see you. And they're like, hold on a second, no, we don't let anyone see our facility. And I sat there for a second and said, what do you mean? They said, we don't let anyone in. We have all these credentials, we have all these certifications, that's enough. And I was like, no, it's not. And they said, well, that's just our policy. I said, okay, I understand. And they said, okay, well, we're going to send you the contract. I said, no, you don't understand. I understand, so we're not doing a deal. It's that simple. Okay, so we do the blind inspections. Now here's the best part. Once those contracts are signed and we have everything done, and we know who the raw material manufacturers are, now we go to the manufacturer themselves. When the raw material comes into them, everything goes into quarantine. That quarantine is so that we can do internal testing as well as external testing to make sure that there's no heavy metals, pesticides, poisons, or anything else in those materials, and most importantly, that they are at a same quality or higher standard than the last batch we made. Okay, it takes around 2 weeks just to do that, to get those tests back. Once that's done, it goes into a single vat manufacturing system. What that means, very simple, because single vat, I said that very fast, and sometimes I talk fast, so I'll slow down. Wow, you guys are just quiet. I spent 20 years talking to 12 people in a box that were too unintelligent to get off the jury, so you got that one, right? Yeah. If you ever want to around and get a jury duty, come see me. I can help you out. All right, so single vat manufacturing. What that means is there's a single casing that it goes into for the manufacturing process. Avoids cross-contamination and everything else in the process. Now here's the great thing about single vat. Should not have any contamination, but there's one problem with manufacturing. Anybody have any idea what that is? Humans are involved. So guess what? It goes back into quarantine after it's manufactured. We're going to test it again. Same testing that went through the first time, we're going to do it the second time. Making sure that nothing happened. Making sure somebody didn't have a bad day and forget to push something, the blender didn't work, whatever the case may be. We're going to test it again. Then they give us the certificate of analysis. That certificate of analysis, it's called a C of A. Okay? That's basically the certification from all the testing labs to say this is exactly what you said it was. It has none of the pesticides, contaminants, or anything else that we test for. No heavy metals. And oh, by the way, it's passed flying colors. Now it's approved. Once I get those, I say, okay, now you can ship it to me. Guess what happens when it hits our dock? We test it again. Why? I was a lawyer for 20 years. I don't trust anybody. Okay. But there's another reason, okay? Logan gives these to his kids and his family. I give this to my kids and my family. Scott gives it to his kids and his family. Why would I give anything to my family that I'm not going to make sure it's exactly what it says on the label? It's our company, but I'm going to make sure. Because there's humans involved. So that we get on stage, and I have Logan get up there and say, we have the highest quality, best ingredient products on the planet. Guess what? Not only do I trust what he's saying, I know what he's saying is right. Because guess what? We have 2 to 3 months worth of supply on the shelf at any one time. If we need to make a change because somebody finds something that's better, tell us. We will. We have. We have that commitment. And you need to understand that because we're not afraid to say, okay, there may be something better, there may be something new. We're going to listen, we're going to make those changes. But that's the quality control process that we go through. As a result, guess what? Our product development is 12 to 14 weeks. So instead of 3 to 6, we're 12 to 14. You understand now why it's a little bit different, and when you get the products, we can say what we say, and we can challenge anybody with regard to what we say. That's quality control. Y'all agree?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about the next one. Purposeful product development. That's a big word, right? PPD. Means absolutely nothing. I made it up. Just stay with me. Wow, wake up. Come on. I'm going to have to do something else. I'll try a cartwheel, but I'd fall. All right, so purposeful product development. Let me tell you about a few things. Anybody like the bars?
Yeah.
You want to know how the bars got started? Here's the thing. Logan Stout walks into his office, and he has a bar. And he's very happy about this bar. His wife has bought him this bar. She believes this bar is the best bar available on the market. And I kid you not, it actually was probably one of the best bars available on the market. And I turn over the label, and I start laughing. And I laugh because of this. A lot of the products that you have on the shelves right now, and moms, you know this better than anybody, you turn over and look at the label, 7 to 9 of the things are good, and then you have those couple of things you just like, man, I really wish that wasn't there, but it's better than my other choices, that compromise feeling. Well, when I turned the bar over on Logan's, it had soy lectin and a lot of other soy products, and I said, it's interesting. I said, you do know that 100% of the soy in this country is genetically modified, right? And he just kind of sat there for a second. He's like, nah, these are great. He comes back the next day and throws the bar at me and says, if you think that, make something better. But guess what? We did. That's purposeful product development. That's finding a problem and saying, you know what, we can do this better. Anybody like the shot?
Yeah.
Okay. You know why the shot was developed? Real quick, I'll tell you. I've got teenagers. My son just turned 18 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. You want to talk about shot to the gut. I mean, he was this little guy. Now he's this little guy. I grabbed his arm the other day and thought, I was going to manhandle him like Dad does. No, Dad didn't. Dad got humbled. He's a big boy. But what happened was he and his friends were walking in all the time with this other product. And, I'm not going to tell you what it is because we don't bash other companies, but it lasts about 5 hours. And I turned it over, and what I read on the back was this: 8,333% of the B complex vitamins. 8,333% of the recommended daily allowance of the B complex vitamins. Now, I'm going to squirrel a little bit. I'm going to tell you about the RDA, because a lot of people say, oh, the RDA, the recommended daily allowance. Just so you know, the last time it was updated was 1945. For those of you that are math challenged, that's 75 years ago. Again, you'll catch up. World War II. Okay, so the RDA is a little outdated. If you don't believe me, look what they did with vitamin D. They said, oh yeah, we missed it by 10x. But that's okay, we'll fix it. Don't rely just on the RDA. There's some issues out there with regard to it. But the reason why it was shocking to me is because the B complex actually causes something called vasodilation. Okay, vasodilation is a widening of the veins, but the problem is this: the widening of the veins occurs in the inner ear and brain. The brain stops developing at the age of 22. Okay, these were teenagers that are taking 4, 5, 6 of these a day.
Wow.
And this is just in Texas. I can't imagine other parts of the country. Again, a joke. Wow, come on. That's the problem. I mean, I tell a joke and it just falls flat, but that's okay, I'll get it. But no, exactly, I need some energy shots. But no, the issue is this. What ends up happening is we saw a real problem. We saw something that's causing harm. Now, do we know what the long-term effects are when these kids are taking this much of these energy products and causing all this vasodilation and everything else that's going on in the brain and the inner ear? No. Neither does science. But do we want to wait around 15 years when the FDA says, oh, let's tell us about a few warnings that we should tell you about 15 years ago? By then, guess what? The kids are already developed. The damage is done. So what we did is we came out with something that was a little bit better, and then we added something else. Why do people take energy drinks in the first place?
Energy.
For mental clarity, so that they can actually get something done. You think about it. Why do you take an energy drink? You want to get something accomplished. You want to do something. Did you know most energy drinks out there just do nothing but just give you the energy? I'm ADHD. You give me more energy, I'm bouncing off walls. Okay? Again, that was a joke. Come on. I'm bouncing off walls anyway. It doesn't matter. You know? But the issue is when these kids get this energy and all these other things, the Monsters, Red Bulls, and everything else, and we're going to go through some of this stuff. All it is pent-up energy, and now we're creating this culture of ADHD all over the place. They're bouncing off everything. They have no focus. So when we created our shot, guess what? We added a mental clarity component, which we found out later why people don't do because it's expensive to do it. And what ended up happening was what? Now you have an energy shot that actually gives you the mental clarity so that you can actually get something done that you wanted to accomplish in the first place. Novel concept, isn't it? Again, purposeful product development. Exactly why we went out in the first place to create it. Let's look at a few other things. Natural and organically derived ingredients. You know what's interesting about this? You guys do know that there is no regulation whatsoever on the label of genetically modified, right? Don't know that? No one regulates that. So in other words, I could put GMO on a label, and it could absolutely not be GMO, and there's no one out there to tell me to stop. Y'all know that? Oh. Same thing with gluten-free and a few of the others. Okay? Organic is taken care of. But one of the greatest things about what the choices we made is that we're going to bring everything from naturally and organically derived ingredients. But here's the thing, natural is a buzzword. If you read about natural, a lot of companies hide behind that word natural. Because yes, it was derived naturally, and then I synthesized it, processed it, did a lot of other things to it, but it's naturally derived. Why do we use the word natural in IDLIFE? Real simple, let me tell you something. A mineral is an element of a rock, inorganic by nature. If I said everything's organically derived, am I correct? Am I correct if I have minerals in the product? No. I was a lawyer for 20 years. I'm very literal. Okay? You'll catch up. Don't worry. All right. So, in other words, because there's minerals in our product, I can't say that everything is organic. Because guess what? Mineral is inorganic by nature. It's an element of a rock. Put two of them together, you have a rock. Okay? It's just one of those things. That wasn't a joke. Wow. I'm going to have a lot of fun with you guys in a minute. Trust me. We're going to go through some real good stuff. So when we say naturally and organically derived, and somebody says, oh yeah, that natural word, and you say, well yeah, it's because we use minerals. And they're like, and they kind of give you that look, well you know a mineral is inorganic by nature, so we can't say everything's derived from organic, otherwise we would be telling a lie, and we don't lie. So as a result, we say natural and organic. Ends the conversation real quick. Everybody get that? That's the one thing I want you to get from that. All right, then we have all these other big words, gluten-free, hormone-free, casein-free, soy-free, non-GMO. Okay? What does GMO mean? Genetically modified organism. Does anybody have any idea what it actually is? I can tell you this, if you know what it does to the human body, come tell me, because us in science can't figure it out. Let me say that again. If you know what this is doing to the human body, let us know, because no one else does. But yet, 70% of our products on the shelves today are genetically modified. We have no clue what this is doing. But yet we're consuming those. Everybody get that? Everybody understand that? That's a really big deal. In fact, when you start looking at the numbers, 100% of the soybeans, 94% of the corn in this country are genetically modified. You know, I cringe every time I go into like a Whole Foods or something, or even a Kroger, or whatever the case may be, a grocery store, and I look at the corn that's, you know, $1 a stock over here that is organic, non-GMO, and then I see the ones that are 6 and 8 for $1. And people are just loading up the basket, 6 and 8 for $1, and they're going to go eat this stuff. And it takes everything in me to say, do you know what genetically modified is? Because no one really knows what's going on here. But you know what's interesting is, did you know our company does not make, our country does not make companies labeled at the fact that the products are genetically modified? Did y'all know that? Not only do they not regulate people who claim non-GMO, they also don't make companies put on their products that they are genetically modified. You know we're the only industrialized country that doesn't? You know, Europe actually makes you, if you're going to make a genetically modified organism, you have to label it. And guess what happens when the consumer sees genetically modified? They don't buy it. World's largest consumer of genetically modified organism is the U.S. You have people in other countries that are genetically modifying stuff that they can't sell in their own country, selling it to us because they can. Okay? So you need to educate yourself on what this means. I mean, there's a lot of things out here. I mean, 30,000 different GMOs on the shelf right now. 30,000. I can pretty much guarantee you most anything that is in a bag, box, jar, or can has something in it. And we're going to get into why that's important, because anybody seen this one lately? The whole food supplements? All right, so we're getting all these calls into the Advocacy Center saying, well, you know, we got this challenge on IDLIFE products because this other competitor is using whole food supplements. Really? Interesting. You know what whole food supplements means? It means whole food as opposed to synthesized. Are we synthesized? No. That means ours is a whole food supplement. But I love it, the fact that people are saying, hey, well, we have a whole food supplement. And there are competitors in this space that say, hey, ours is whole food. You don't claim that, so you're not, which is absolutely asinine. But let me tell you something that you can ask somebody who says, yeah, ours are whole food supplements. What did I just tell you about genetically modified? Okay, guess what? It may be whole food, but it's probably genetically modified whole food. We also put that little thing at the end when we say, you know, all natural, all organic, non-GMO. Remember that part? That's very important. Now you know what a genetically modified organism is. Now you know when somebody says this and they throw that at you, you said, yeah, but is yours non-GMO? Just because it's whole food doesn't mean it's good for you.
Nice. Like it.
Okay, everybody got that? Very rarely do they let me get on the phones with people when they call in the Advocacy Center, but when they do, I actually get to have some fun. It was interesting, Jimmy, I got to tell this story. I'm sorry, I have to. So yesterday I get a call or a text from Jimmy. He goes, I'm with somebody and I need to know why we added, this is an important term, why we added omega-6s and 9s to the shake. I sit there for a second. I'm like, I don't remember adding 6s and 9s to the shake, but I think I know the answer to this, but let me verify. So I call Paul, and we get some others on the phone, and we verify that what I believe to be true. And I said, well, you do know that the chia seed actually has all of your essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6s, and 9s, in the chia. So we didn't add anything. The chia is naturally occurring omega-3, 6, and 9s. And I know Jimmy, when he sent me back this text, he was kind of cringing because he says, well, I'm sitting here with a registered dietitian who asked the question. I want to let that set in for a second. Okay? I'm sitting here with a registered dietitian who asked the question about adding to the shake. There's only 7 ingredients. Okay, so be very careful about who your expert is, and make sure that you educate yourself. Don't just rely on people. Learn these types of things. So what if I did this? What if I told you you could live 3.4 years by doing one thing that I told you to do? Everybody do it? How many people do it? And if you didn't raise your hand, you're a liar, and you're not going to raise your hand no matter what I do. Again, that was a joke. All right, so guaranteed, unequivocally, without a doubt, we can add 3.4 years to whatever your lifespan is going to be by simply doing one thing, adding physical activity to your daily lifespan. 20 minutes a day. That's all it is. You add 3.4 years. Now here's the best part. Anybody ever done the yo-yo diet? And I raised my hand because I did. You're going to see a picture here in a minute where I was 307 pounds. Oh yeah, 307. I'm not 307 anymore. But I will tell you this, if you plan on doing the yo-yo diet thing, don't. Stop. Just stay where you are. Scientifically proven you're going to live 3.7 years longer just staying the way you are as opposed to the yo-yo diet. Why do you think we don't talk about diets here? We talk about life change. We talk about the 6 inches between your ears affecting the 40 inches around your waist, not the other way around. Okay? It's a big deal. But physical activity is a big part of that. When 69% of the population is overweight, this is the cost right here. I love it when somebody says, oh, you know, the nutrition or the supplementation, it's just too expensive. I can't afford it. Really? Well, you're spending that much on added medical cost every year. And you don't even realize it. Do you know the average American in this country is spending $892 a year on pharmaceutical drugs? That's the average. Pharmaceutical companies. Anybody seen the commercial lately for pharmaceutical drugs? That should be everybody, okay? And the reason why is very simple. We've created a society where we no longer go to the doctor to have the doctor tell us what we need. Now we go to the doctor to tell them what we want. And pharmaceutical companies learn something. For every dollar they spend on advertising, they make back $4.2 for every one they spent. Because people like us are going to our doctor saying, hey, I want that Lipitor thing because of all those things it said when it was talking at a level pace. Not the last 5 seconds when they said causes cancer and liver disease and all the other stuff that it said. It's liking fast pace that you didn't hear. Okay? That's what's happening in this country. Oh, by the way, I want to show you one other thing. That's your brain at rest if you're sitting at your desk. That's your brain if you just walk for 20 minutes. If you want to know why you kind of get lethargic and can't, that's an MRI study. We just put it in a cartoon type format. But I mean, that's literally what it looks like. Just so you know, physical activity does cause a little brain activity. Now, my story real quick. That's my daughter when she was 3. She's now 16. And that's me and Goofy. Now, here's the thing. I haven't even told the joke yet. Yeah, exactly. I heard him. But here's the thing. It took me 10 years from being a college athlete with 8% body fat to get there. 10 years. That's all it took. I looked in the mirror every single day and never saw that. When we got home for our vacation, I saw that I was bigger than Goofy and was like, man, I need to do something about this. Now, I've got 2 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, and a law degree. And why do I tell you that? I'm pretty educated. I'm pretty well knowledgeable with regard to what's going on. It took me 6.5 years to figure out how to lose that. Tried everything. Every diet under the planet, every fad there was, every pill other than Fen-Phen, thank God. Everything there was out there, I tried it. You know why? Because I was listening to people tell me what I should do to affect the 40 inches around my waist. Do this and you will change. Do this and things will happen. Guess what happened? I wasn't changing the way that I thought of Peter. So what happened was I can do a diet for a short period of time, and then as soon as I stopped doing the diet, what happens? I revert back to my habits. My habits got me there. So why do we do what we do? Why have we created what we've created here? Real simple. We're taking my experiences, and we're saying, you know what? 6.5 years for me to figure it out. How about I show you guys how to do it in a shorter period of time? How about I take all of the struggles, all the adulations, the midnight runs to the refrigerator when no one's watching? Yeah, that was me, okay? And I see the faces, because remember I was 20 years, I can actually read and see the ones where you're agreeing with me but not agreeing with me and hoping the person next to you doesn't see you do it. I got those too. That was the joke, yes. All right, so, but when you sit there and you look at yourself and you say, okay, I want to start something. I want to make a change. Where do you start? Who do you trust? What do you have to do? Here's the best thing I can give you today. Start with your own 6 inches between your own ears. Educate yourself. You know, we've learned a lot of things so far today. We haven't even got to the products part yet. Trust me, I'll get to there real quick. But we're learning things that we believe to be true that absolutely are not. And you're learning something about IDLIFE with regard to why we develop products the way that we do. And you have to understand that when we're trying to do these things and we're telling people, you know, we live in a sedentary world. You know, in case you haven't seen that, since 1960, we burn 140 fewer calories a day. Because guess what? Computers. We sit at a desk. That's 14.6 pounds per year. You want to know why we're the heaviest country in the world? Mexico had us a couple of years ago. We took it back from them last year. And now we really got it past them this year. You know, this is what's going on. We need to educate ourselves. Now, as far as education goes, anyone seen this before? Yeah. Every person in this room. 70% or more of you answer that. 1 to 2 servings per day. That's what you say. Added sugar in your diet, 1 to 2 servings per day. That's 70% of the people in this room. Now, I'm not going to embarrass anybody, but I'm going to show you something. The average American consumes 22 teaspoons a day. A serving is 2. That's the average American is 11 servings per day. 152 pounds per year. So all of you that put 1 to 2, I'm not going to call you out. It's not 1 to 2. Now, right now is when you should pause and say, how is this possible? 80% of the food in our food supply has added refined sugar, and you don't even realize you're consuming it. This is why by 2050, if we don't make a change, 1 in 3 of us is going to have diabetes. If you want to test something, do this. Go to the store, find your favorite dressing. Doesn't matter what it is, any brand, I don't care. You can test me, and this is going to happen. It's going to be true. Get the light version, get the regular version. The light version is supposed to be healthy, right? That's where you say, yes, it's supposed to be healthy because that's what it says on the front, right? Yes, that's what they told people. That's the marketing behind it. Flip that over, flip over the regular one, and look at the sugar content. Light is going to be twice as much sugar as the regular. Every single time. So what ends up happening? We do things like this in this country. We put little bears and we put little fruits all over the front of things. And we sell it to kids and we say, hey, this is the healthy choice, moms. What they don't understand is it's sugar alcohol. There's actually not any fruit in it. And guess what? It's actually worse than if you just grab the Oreos that at least have fiber in it. It's true. You know, I usually, when I do this thing up in Frisco, sometimes I'll do kind of the which is true, this or that, and I can really mess with people because the first few I take them on a ride where they think they know something and they don't, and then I put a donut and a steak up and I'm saying which one's healthier, and they have to actually pause because they're not real sure. The Oreo cookie actually has a high fiber content. Those little snack bars that have the fruit on the front of them, most of them are far worse for your child. If you want to know more about that, talk to me later. But I mean, it's all about marketing. Okay, so when you go back and you look at these things, you need to understand what it is we're consuming. Now let's talk about weight loss real quick, because this is something that people talk about. This is manageable. 1 pound a week, 4 pounds a month. Now that doesn't sound like a lot. You know, people are like, oh man, I want to move a lot faster than that. I mean, I want to lose more. Well, do you know a pound is about the size of a softball? Okay, 4 pounds is the size of a basketball. Again, take the picture, go Google it, check me out. You're going to find out that I'm right, and then you're going to be like, wow, I had no idea. And if you want to really try something out, do this. You want to know what 10 pounds is like? Go to the store, next time you're in the grocery store, go directly to the rice aisle, grab the 10-pound bag of rice, put it on your shoulders, and finish your shopping. See if you can. It's going to get really uncomfortable. Then if you're somebody like me who's lost over 100 pounds, go to Home Depot, grab a couple of bags of concrete, try to walk around. That's what you're carrying around your waist. Every 30 pounds of belly fat, every 10 pounds of belly fat is 30 pounds of weight on the knees. 30 pounds of weight. You want to know why we have a lot of people in this country with knee problems? I know I talk to orthopedic surgeons and PTs and everything all the time, and I'm like, make sure we're telling people why they're here. It's not just because they had some traumatic injury, it's because they've got a lot of things going on. Let's talk about the actual cause, not just the current symptomology. Okay? So, for all you women in the room that says, I don't want to do heavy weight resistance training because I don't want to buff up and look like a man, let me tell you, genetically you won't. It's not possible. Very few do. I don't know anybody on this planet who works out more than Jen Wiederstrom, and she looks pretty good. Yeah. Just saying. Yes. Okay. All right. But here's the thing. If a pound of muscle is burning 7 to 10 calories, a pound of fat is only burning 2 to 3 calories, is there a reason to put muscle on your body? Yeah. Absolutely. That's basics. Now that's information you can actually share with somebody. Okay? You don't have to say muscle weighs more than fat. It doesn't. A pound is a pound. Newton tested that, dropping from this, Everybody got that one? I don't need to go any further? No. How many of you ever said muscle weighs more than fat? Raise your hand because I know that you did. Okay? Because guess what? Somebody told you that. Muscle is just denser than fat. That's all it is. But a pound is a pound. But the thing is, a pound isn't a pound when you're talking about the burn rate. All right, so let's get into something else real quick. Blood screening. Anybody hear about blood screening? Ever get the question, hey, why doesn't IDLIFE have blood? Yeah. Let's talk about blood for a second. If I took your blood, let's say the day after the Super Bowl, and I took your blood 2 weeks later, am I going to get 2 different results?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Especially if the Giants keep playing the way they've been playing. Sorry, I had to. I could have said Jets, but that was just too easy. So, see, I knew I'd wake you guys up eventually. Yeah. Hey, there's a reason Troy Aikman's a partner of ours. Come on, But no, the blood screen thing is this. There's a lot of good information in blood. There's a lot of things that we can get from it. But at the same time, it changes so regularly that it's a little inconsistent and irregular. So as a result, we have to look at some other things. But if you do have your blood work, I want you to look at something. You know what? We have a big problem in this country with regard to the word normal on blood work. Did you know blood work normality is based upon the median of the country? Let me replace that. Let me rephrase that. You understand that means the average American. That's what normal means. So guess what? Go look at what normal blood work was 25 years ago. Look at the numbers and look what it is today. It's been going this way. Why? Our population has been going this way as far as weight and other diseases. That's one problem we have with normality. The other thing is this. How many of you ever thought this? You got your blood work back, everything's normal. What I'm doing must be okay. Every single one of you thought that. You don't have to acknowledge it. I know that you did. The problem is you haven't educated yourself to understand what elevated normal means. So here's what I want you to think about next time. That's the Brooklyn Bridge. No, that's the Golden Gate Bridge. I had Brooklyn Bridge last week. It didn't have that same feel, so I changed it this way, over to the Golden Gate. Okay? I just like the mood, sorry. You'll catch up. All right. So, but here's the reason why I want you to think of a bridge. I'm a visual person. Logan proved to you last night, if you were here, we're all visual people. We want you to think this way. This is what your blood work is. If you're normal, you're in the road. If you're a little bit on the elevated side of normal, a little bit on the low side of normal, guess what? You're on the sidewalk. If you get abnormal, there may or may not be a drug out there that can get you back to normal. You may have just fallen off the side, and it's a long way down. Okay, so let's educate ourselves when we do get our blood work and understand what that means. There are warning signs in there. Don't let the doctor just come back and say, hey, everything's fine, you're normal. My wife just got her yearly blood work back, and she was very excited because the doctor said, hey, everything's normal. Until she got home, because she had to show it to me. So I pull out the blood work from last year, I pull out the blood work from this year, and we have 4 factors that are kind of starting to elevate in areas, and I said, let me explain to you what those 4 factors are. And we're talking about different issues and things that are elevating, and all of a sudden she's like, well, the doctor didn't tell me any of this. I'm like, yeah, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't even play one on TV. But I can tell you what's going on with regard to these elevations, because this is, potential thyroid issues and some other things that are going on. Here's what we can do to start working down the way of reversing this trend. Okay, and it's all diet related. It's all, what she's consuming. It's, her physical activity, things like that. And she's like, why don't people know this? And I said, that's a good question. Because here's the thing, 55% of people go to their doctor for nutrition advice. 55% of people go to the doctor for nutrition advice. You know how many classes of nutrition doctors took in school?
0.
0, maybe 1. And it's kind of like the tax class I took in law school. Don't remember any of it. Okay? So remember that when you're trying to figure things out with regard to your nutritional advice, educate yourself. Understand what this means. Keep your blood work year to year. Understand what's going on. And if you're in that elevated category, just do a little research to find out how you can reverse it naturally before you get to this point in the abnormal category where you may or may not get to come back from it. Okay? Now, why is there a curtain back there? Real simple. There's some new stuff coming. Anybody want to know about that? You want to give a little something away that's coming? Yes. Now everybody's awake. How about that? All right, so here's something that I'll tell you about the new stuff. If you're not at Revolution, there's a good chance you won't get any of the new stuff because it'll not be ready for sale to the general public for 2 to 3 weeks after Revolution. Let that set in for a second. Okay? If you're not at Revolution, you will not be able to get a lot of the new stuff because it won't be available for sale to the general public for another 2 to 3 weeks after Revolution.
So it's going to be a
Everybody get that?
It's going to be a
So in other words, get to Revolution.
It's going to be there.
I'm not going to tell you that.
I know.
Heck, all you got to do is spend some time with Logan. You can get some hints. But,
You need to know
But hey, here's the thing. I set the schedule so that I can travel everywhere Logan is traveling for that particular purpose. Next weekend, he's in Tampa. I'm in San Antonio. So if you want to know something, I would suggest you get to Tampa. Chances are I'm not going to be there to stop it. All right, so I'll give you that. But we do have some really neat stuff. I am a lifelong Yankees fan. My great-grandfather was best friends with Babe Ruth. If you want to know why, yes, I grew up in Texas, but that's just what it was. But there's something, the reason why I put this out here is this. Everyone can correlate with baseball. Part of the problem with this business is this. We have this thing, it's a scientific assessment backed by 7,500 independent scientific studies that has 4,000 algorithms, cross-correlating information with all these high-level questionnaires that's going to give you 26... Anybody get lost with what I just said? What do you think happens? I saw the glaze on your eyes and I know what I'm talking about. Okay? What happens when you start spitting that out at people? They do the same thing. You lose them immediately. Here's what I want you to think about. Think about the batting order, okay, on a baseball team. What if you actually start giving them things that replaces something bad that they're currently doing? What if instead of trying to throw up about nutrition, you're actually giving them hydrate that says, guess what? Right now you're consuming Gatorade, Powerade, vitamin water, and all the rest. What if I gave you all of the benefits without any of the detriments? Would you at least try it? Is anybody going to say no to that? You shake up a bottle of hydrate, you hand it to somebody, it tastes great, and all of a sudden you say, hold on a second. This doesn't have all that sugar in it, and I get all of the stuff that I need. Okay, it's easy. Sleep. You know, you're going to see here in a second, a lot of people suffer from sleep problems. A lot of people suffer from sleep problems. Our sleep strips work pretty well. We've had some people that had some serious sleep issues, and what they did is they came to me and said, hey, these sleep strips, I dreamed. I was like, well, that's good. And they said, I haven't dreamed in like 10 years. I was like, was it a good dream? And they're like, it scared me. I'm used to going to sleep, waking up, and not having anything to talk about. You know, so it's amazing the stuff that we have. And think about that. Now here's the thing. Let's go into some of the products specifically. 75% of Americans are dehydrated. 75% are dehydrated. You want to talk about hydration? It's real simple. Okay? Oh, by the way, if this looks new to you and you're taking pictures of it, it's been in your back office for about 6 months. Just saying. I'll let that one set in for a second. It's been in your back office for 6 months. All right. How about this one? Anybody drink 1 soda a day? Doesn't matter if it's regular or diet. I always love it. Somebody goes in the fast food line, they order, 10 tacos and a Diet Coke. I was there, remember? Okay? Diet Coke is going to save me until you learn what the artificial sugar actually does to your body, which is worse than regular at some point. But that's kind of the issues that we're having with soda. Did you know that the average kid in this country right now is consuming 7 to 10 sodas a day? Wow. 7 to 10. 7 to 10. All right, so let's look at this one. Oh, went too fast. There's your sugar content. Remember how I told you hydrate has no sugar? Gatorade has 8.5 teaspoons. Recommended daily allowance for men, according to the American Heart Association, is 9 teaspoons. Women, it's 6. What does that mean? You give 1 Gatorade and you're done for the day. And remember earlier when I said the average is at least 11 teaspoons a day? Did you know that adult Americans, the average right now is 32 teaspoons a day of sugar? 32. You know, the CDC just came out with a study that was pretty alarming. They had all their new child statistics out, if you've seen it. And they said in a 30-day period, the average child in this country consumes 27 fast food meals. Let me let that set in. 27 in a 30-day period.
Oh my God.
Okay? Do you think we have a problem? And you know what the most common reason for parents buying fast food? I just don't have time to cook. You don't have time not to. Okay? We have to educate ourselves. It's a real simple change. Now, hydrate, you can use it in a lot of different ways. A lot of people don't know that 1 tub fits perfectly in a 5-gallon mix. Everybody get that one? Again, all of these have been in your back office for about 6 months. Okay? It's perfect for sporting events. It's 107 degrees in Dallas today. I know because my son sent it. He's a catcher and they're doing a baseball thing today. And he's like, Dad, I said, take a lot of hydrate. Drink it every hour. Just keep it in your body. It's a big deal. Sleep. 60 million prescriptions in 2011. For you guys that need the math help, that's 1 in 5 Americans is taking some type of sleep aid. So when you sit in a room of 10 people and you say, does anybody have a problem with sleep? And no one raises their hand, 2 people are lying. Everybody get that? Do I need to let you catch up on the math side? Because you got to sleep on me again. There's a lot of people in this country that have hydration issues and sleep issues. You want to know why I said now lead off and second batter? It's a simple thing to talk about. And you're talking about a rise from 47 to 60 million in just 5 years. The new stats are about to come out. It's actually closer to 75 million now. Okay? It's a real problem in this country. We have a great sleep aid. Triphasic. What does that mean simply? Real simple. Triphasic is this. You don't have to explain this. You don't have to say it has melatonin, 5-HTP, and L-theanine. Does anybody know what 5-HTP and L-theanine do? I do, but the fact is you don't. So don't say that. It does 3 things. It helps you go to sleep, it keeps you asleep, and it gives you a nice, deep, restful sleep. One of the other things you can say is this, hey, one of the things I have is if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I have that overactive brain, I can't go back to sleep. Guess what? This helps level that out, so if I wake up, I actually go back to sleep. Isn't that simple? Simple way of explaining it. All right, so bars. We've talked about the bars. I don't need to go into much more about the bars. I will tell you this about the bars. If you're a guy and you like the Hers bar, it's okay. There's There's no soy in it, so you're good. Okay? You're not going to grow anything. You'll be fine. Okay? If you're a woman and you like the His bar, it's okay. Because guess what? 80% of our women love the His bar. In fact, most of them love the His bar more than they do the Hers bar. I know that based upon sales. Don't worry, no bad problems. And oh, guess what? The Kids bar is personally my favorite. We all want to be kids again, so try it. It's at least worth a try. Okay? But we are one of the only companies in the country that has a bar made specifically for children. And it's funny, we've tested this with a lot of different kids, and what we keep getting is the same thing. I love it, and they're surprised that they love it. Stop telling them that it's good for them and just give it to them as a snack, and guess what? They'll really love it. Okay? That's the best part about this. This is something they can actually take that is really good for them. And you know, it's funny, I get to see all these videos that people send me of the kid taste test. I'm going to start putting these together because some of them are just adorable, because the kid gets this huge smile on his face and he wants more. And the one complaint I get is the parents calling up saying, Mark, I left them in the pantry on a shelf that was low enough, and they're gone. It's like, well, that's a good thing. They said, no, I bought them yesterday. So, kids love them. Pre and post workout. I'm going to go through these pretty quick because I have a tendency sometimes to go long. But the pre and post workout. Here's one thing. Does it have creatine in it? Yes. Does creatine cause muscle retention? Does it cause water retention? Yes. That's the biggest complaint we get about our pre and post workout is, water retention. I don't want to retain water. What if I told you the water retention in our pre and post, based upon the creatine and the science behind it, actually is stored intramuscular rather than extramuscular? I'll say that again. The creatine hydrate, the creatine, the water that is retained, is intramuscular, not extramuscular. What does that mean? Real simple. Anybody go to work out and want their muscles to be bigger? Isn't that the reason why you go to work out? Wow, you guys, come on. Yes, that's why. But here's the great part about it. The water is retained inside the muscle, not outside the muscle. So guess what? It's pulling the hydration out of the muscle, out of the outside of the muscle, putting it into the inside of the muscle. And why is that important? All of those electrolytes, minerals, uptakes, vitamins, branched chain amino acids, and everything else that's in the pre and in the post, guess what? They work better when they have the hydration in the muscle to actually help them do what they were designed to do. Isn't that an interesting thing? So it's funny when people call me and say, well, I don't want to take this because of this. And I'm like, well, you're right. You shouldn't if that's what you believe. But let me tell you what the truth is. And then you can make a decision. We have a lot of bodybuilders who actually stay on our pre and post even during their cut phase because their muscles are getting bigger, which is the whole reason why they took it in the first place. Why do you think you see all these IBFF pros that are now using our products? Okay? So anybody know that before today? No. Does everybody understand that now after today? Yes. Okay, it makes it simple. And the greatest thing about our pre-workout is this. Is it going to make you lift more weight? No. What it's going to do is this. This is the one thing you need to learn about our pre-workout. It's going to delay fatigue. Delay fatigue. That's what it does. So if you normally start getting fatigued at about minute 25 in your workout, guess what? You're going to start getting fatigued at minute 30. What does that simply mean? You're going to go longer, harder. Okay? That means you're going to get better results. You're going to get different types of body movements later in your workout. You're also probably going to help prevent some injuries because some of the guys in this room, as I can see, are really big. You can look around. It's okay. They are. They're big. But what that means is they're lifting a lot of heavy things, a lot of heavy weight. And guess what? If you're like me and you did CrossFit for 18 months and you tore everything under your shoulder because you were a 20-year-old athlete one time and you thought you could still do it because you're now 40 and they're 20 and you want to keep up? Am I the only one that did that? Yeah. So, it's a great product. The Post, one question we get all the time, why is there no protein in the Post? Real simple. Why would we put protein in something when we already have the greatest shake on the planet? Why would you do that? If you want protein after a workout, we have a shake for that. Okay? If you want to recover so that your muscle can actually repair itself and you can move on to the next workout sooner, that's what that Post is designed to do. Real simple. The shot, we've gone over the shot. I explained that to you guys. Everybody good on the shot? Why we created it, what it does? The main focus on our shot is the focus. It's one of the only shots on the planet that actually has a mental clarity component built into the shot itself. So not only do you get the energy, but you also get the focus necessary to get done what it is, the whole reason why you're taking the shot in the first place. Everybody get that one? Yeah. Do I really need to explain this one? Everybody have the shake. I mean, 7 ingredients, micro-milled chia in it. Let me tell you one thing about it. We say grass-fed cows from New Zealand. Why do we say grass-fed cows from New Zealand? Anybody know? Let me explain to you something that no one in this room knows unless you've spoken to me before or heard me speak. There's genetically modified grass in this country. Let me let that set in. Genetically modified grass. Scott's came out with it 3 years ago. That means it grows year-round with little hydration, and it doesn't matter what the climate is. And the best part about the genetically modified grass is our USDA did not even test it before they approved it. So when you go to the store and you're buying grass-fed, make sure that you understand where it came from, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's not genetically modified. Everybody get that one? Okay, so now we're all educated. That's why we go to New Zealand. Guess what? There is no genetically modified grass in New Zealand. And it's the highest quality whey protein we can get. And that's not even counting the cold filtration, non-hydrogenated process that it goes through. So you don't actually get the gut and stuff that goes along with it. You know, we walked into a very well-known shop not too long ago, Big Jim. Their #1 seller in their smoothie factory was an 80-gram protein shake. 80 grams, people paying $12 to $15 for these things. You know what 80 grams of protein would do on your stomach if you consume? One, it's going to be like drinking peanut butter. But it's, I mean, the gut problems, the liver, the kidneys, and all the other issues that you're going to have as a result of that. More is not always better, guys. Okay? There's a reason why there's 23 grams in our shake. It's what the body can sustain. It's what it can naturally process. It's why you don't get all those gut problems when you use our shake. Okay? So educate yourselves. Know what that means. Anybody like the lean? Yeah. You know, lean was designed to help offset sarcopenia. I'm going to let that one set in for a second. Sarcopenia.
What's that?
Now, see, this wonderful guy took about 3 days writing this stuff for the website on sarcopenia that no one ever reads, apparently. Because that's why we actually designed it. It's the loss of lean muscle mass after the age of 35 in women, after the age of 40 in men. It's a real problem. Okay, it's one of those ways to kind of offset the catabolic state. But what we found out in our test group was it has a thermogenic, it has a metabolic boost, but most people started losing weight. Why? Well, it also has a sugar craving system in it, so that it actually blocks that sugar craving. And when 80% of our foods in this country have added refined sugar, what ends up happening? Nothing tastes good anymore. You're welcome. If you're a wine drinker, I'm sorry. But it worked out really well. Okay, so that's a great product. Energy, I don't think I need to explain that to anybody. You know, the main thing about our energy is this. This is the main thing you need to understand about it. 75 milligrams of fast-acting caffeine, 75 milligrams of time-released encapsulated caffeine. What that means is you get the up and then you get the level over a 4 to 6 hour period, not the up and the crash with most energy drinks. Everybody get that one? That's really the only thing you need to know. If you need to understand the triphasic in order to try it, wrong product for you. Okay? It's real simple. Most people are taking some form of energy drink. You might as well give them something that they're trying anyway. ID nutrition, I don't really need to go into this one. You know, Scott's in the back of the room getting ready to kill me because I've already gone over my time, I'm sure. You know, the assessment.
Yes, you have.
Yes, I know. I'm not going to go through it. You guys understand this stuff. The main thing about the ID nutrition is this, guys. Don't throw up on somebody just about the ID nutrition. You get nothing else from this. Help them replace something that they're currently doing that's not good for them. Give them some information. Give them some details with regard to, hey, look, I know you love this Gatorade, Powerade. The one that you probably didn't pay attention to was vitamin water. One of the most interesting marketing ploys on names I've ever seen. Vitamin water has 8 grams of sugar in it. What do you think when you hear the word vitamin water? It's water with added vitamins. Ingenious. We forgot about all the other things that we put in it. Okay, and I don't talk bad about companies. It's just, I'm going to point some things out to you. But make sure you don't throw up on them, but you do understand all the convenience factors, all of the cost-effective nature. I mean, last night we heard the average omega of 50 to 60 bucks. In GNC, it's like $69. The multivitamin is $59. If you want to hear a funny story, I actually had some time to kill the other day. I'll tell this later because I'm not going to do this now. The other day I actually walked into a GNC because I had some time to kill. I do this from time to time. And no, I was really just going in. I like to keep up with prices. So when I get up here and say 69 and 59, I know you can go to the store, you can verify that I'm telling the truth because I'm very cognizant of those things. And I'm sitting there and the store clerk wants to sell me a multivitamin. I tried to stop him. I tried to say, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need a multivitamin. I have this customized thing made just for me. And 20 minutes later, me and the clerk were having a conversation because he continuously wanted to try to sell me the multivitamin. And he had a lot of reasons why I needed it and why it was better and all that. Come talk to me. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. It was hilarious. Anybody like Jen?
Yeah.
You know, that program is amazing, what she put together. Now, one thing you need to understand about this program, and I'm going to kind of leave on this one, it's progressive. It's progressive. So what does that mean? If you start here, guess what? When this becomes easy, you move on to here. When that becomes easy, you can move on to here. If you're already here, great. Guess what? Move up. If you're already here, great. You're in great shape, but it can help you get better. This whole system was designed to be progressive along the line so that it meets you exactly where you are and helps you get all the way through. Everybody understand that? Yes. Okay. And the results people are getting from this, absolutely amazing. I mean, you're going to be seeing some things from Jen coming out. I mean, because I've been sending her all your videos. If you have videos, things like that, make sure that you do send them to us because we do send them to her. And she does care. I mean, she really is excited about what's going on, and she can't wait till the revolution, and we can talk about a few other things. So, I'm not going to. ID Wellness. You know, we went through that. It's a great system. I'm not going to go through all that today. You know, I hope this was this helpful?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
This is fun for me personally. But most importantly, it's good for the company that we get out and actually show you guys why we do what we do, the integrity behind what we do, the ethics that we have when we create something, and the purpose that this company lives for. You know, we call ourselves a health and wellness company for a reason. That's what we are. We're not a product company. We're a lot more than that. You know, we're the only company on the planet that gives you an assessment that if you follow the recommendation of the assessment, the little report before the recommendation that no one seems to read, if you follow that report, guess what? You don't have to take a single IDLIFE product and you can get healthy. Did you hear that? Work better than that. If you follow the report, guess what? You can actually take less of the recommended supplementation. How about that? What other company in the world does that? You know, we are a health and wellness movement, and we want you on the ride with us. And I'm glad I got a chance to share the products. But you know, one of the things I get to do now is bring up Scott Unkelbach, and I'm going to try to avoid him because he's going to hit me because I probably am way over my time. But that's okay. I want to see how fast he can talk. But what's interesting about Scott is this. When I first met Scotty, I went into the meeting thinking, you know, this is never going to work. I told Logan this isn't going to work. I don't like it. You're fine. You know, you have 2 twin boys. They're brand new. Baby, I'm just born. We don't need this headache. He goes, just go look at this, please. It's like, okay, fine. So I go in and meet Scotty. Scotty will explain it as a proctology exam. Do I need to explain what that is? But what it was 2.5 days of me asking every single thing there was to ask about this product. And coming out of there not only knowing Scott a little bit better, but understanding a little bit more about this product and what we had our hands on. But since that time, Scott and I have got to know each other really well. I've got to know his heart. I've got to know his family. You want to know something about a human being? Look at his family. Look at the kids. He has 2 grown kids. And you want to see what people are like, see what their grown children are like. You know, his kids are amazing. In fact, one of the things he's probably going to tell you is he can't wait to get home today because one of his sons that's an active military person is actually in town this week. So, you know, he's ready to get home to spend some time with him. And, but, you know, I've got to know Scott and Darlene really well. And, you know, it's interesting when I gave him a nickname. He goes, no one's ever called me this before, but I think all of you guys would probably agree with me because I call him the Velvet Teddy Bear. I'm going to let that one go too, really. So anytime you see him up in Jersey, he's the Velvet Teddy Bear. Okay? And the reason why I do that is he loves people. He loves helping people. And that giver's heart and that passionate heart. I mean, the guy's on the phone all the time. If you have a question, you have a problem, go to Scott. He'll help you. Okay? And yes, I'll give you a cell number if you just ask. That's his punishment. But you know, I want to bring up our Director of Field Leadership and my personal friend, Scott Unkelbach.